So I was on the road to being like your average corporate bro. Like during the pandemic, I got a job working at Meta as a project manager, and then they making a decent salary for what I thought was a decent salary. And then I got a job working at Apple as a project manager. I'm like, okay, great. It's like the dream job, right? It's like you work at Apple, one of the biggest companies in the entire world, project manager, work from home, cushy, good
Yeah.
salary, good, a lot of headroom, great career path. But man, I was bored out of my mind. I had nothing in common with my coworkers, and I'm like, I think I fucked up. So I had to figure out how to make my transition into entrepreneurship.
Welcome to the Home Service Chad Podcast, the show for home service entrepreneurs who don't just want to make money, but who also want to build elite lives and create impact. Each week, Louis sits down with high performers in home services to uncover the secrets to their success. No fluff, no shortcuts, just real conversations with those doing the work. Now, here's your host, Louis Moucher.
Alrighty, what is up, everybody? We got another episode. Today we got my brother Alister Shirazi. He's a seven-figure
Shirazi,
press.
yeah. Alister
Shirazi, my
Shirazi, you
bad,
got
my
it, you got it.
bad. I'll give a quick little rundown. Seven-figure pressure washing business owner. Go High Level SaaSpreneur Gold Award. He's a host of the Alister Show. Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. Quite the accomplishments here, brother. Appreciate you pulling up. For everyone, we'll get right into it. I know you got a hard cut at in 50 minutes, so we'll jump right in. Can you give everyone, your backstory, how you got into business, what you started with, how you got into, the pressure washing stuff, and then where you're at now, what you're working on currently?
Yeah. So I was on the road to being like your average corporate bro. Like during the pandemic, I got a job working at Meta as a project manager, and then they making a decent salary for what I thought was a decent salary. And then I got a job working at Apple as a project manager. I'm like, okay, great. It's like the dream job, right? It's like you work at Apple, one of the biggest companies in the entire world, project manager, work from home, cushy, good
Yeah.
salary, good, a lot of headroom, great career path. But man, I was bored out of my mind. I had nothing in common with my coworkers, and I'm like, I think I fucked up. So I had to figure out how to make my transition into entrepreneurship. I'd always kind of dabbled in entrepreneurship. I've had a couple businesses in the past. I had an iPhone repair business before, but I knew that was always the role I wanted to be. But I spent time kind of building up this safety net in this corporate America world. And so I disliked my job so much in my white collar that I pretty much left and started a cleaning business, which most people think that's crazy. You're like going from what society seems as like high to like what society seems as low, but in my
Yeah.
mind it was the exact opposite. And the way I started my pressure washing business was I saw some teenagers on TikTok claiming to make $100 an hour pressure washing, and I thought, uh, well, I want to give that a try. So I made a TikTok saying like testing TikTok side hustles,
Okay.
and it went crazy viral. It got like 3 million views, and I just thought to myself, well, I'm gonna be making content now on TikTok about how to run a business. So that kind of kickstarted my journey. And because I had a background in marketing and I knew the basics of how to run a business, how to get clients, it was pretty easy for me to scale that business up. And what happens is a lot of people get wrapped around the cleaning mechanisms, like how do
Mm.
I find the best equipment, or how do I what's the best chemicals to use. And I never really messed about that, worried about that. Even today, we have a very basic, basic equipment. So I scaled that business up. Very first calendar year, we did over $500,000 in our very first year in a very small town.
How big
And
was the market?
then I basically started helping other people grow their businesses because I got a lot of questions about it. And it's like, hey, how did you do that? Hey, can you teach me how to run ads? Hey, what kind of automations are you using? All that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I started to help other people. And that kind of spawned my marketing agency, which I've now turned into kind of like an AI agency. So now I help business owners leverage AI to grow their businesses, and that's kind of what I do now. So that's kind of the transition. I started, corporate. I grew my own business. Now help other businesses do the same.
Sweet, dude. Is like the pressure? Are you still the owner of the pressure washing business,
I
or did you?
actually just sold the company. So I sold
Okay,
actually 80% stake of it. So I still have a small percentage of it. And that's just to kind of make sure that because I have a contractor's license so they can use my license. And also
right.
I provide them with a little bit of direction and strategy. But
Cool.
I'm completely out of the day to day.
Yeah.
And it's been great. Like that's always really been the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, a business like a service business, it's cool, especially if you're starting out. It's a great place to start. But you have to understand that service businesses are extremely hard to scale, typically because you have to deal with operational expenses. And
Right.
I always knew, so like, put it like this. One day, I decided that, like, I was working hard in my business, trying to grow my pressure washing business. And one day I said, I want to make $1 million this year. I want to make $1 million in a year. And so I started mapping it out on a whiteboard. Okay, how much money can each truck bring in a day right now? About $2,000 a day. Cool. So how much does each job cost me? Okay, cool. How many employees would I need to run each truck? Okay, cool. So how many trucks would I need to make, you know, $80,000 in a month? Okay, cool. So I started doing the math, and I'm like, I needed X amount of
It's a lot.
employees, X amount of trucks, X amount of marketing spend, X amount of admin, X amount of, all this stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is hard. This is really, really hard. I don't think this is going to be possible. I think about how many people are even, how many houses are even in my market. And I'm like, I don't think this is possible. It's in a small town. And so that's when it hit me. I'm like, if my goal is $1 million a year, but I'm in this
Hmm.
vehicle that isn't capable of going that fast, right? It's like I want to, I want to go 100 miles an hour, but I'm in a, whatever, I'm in a Fiat, right? And it's just not going to take me there. So that's when everything clicked for me, and like I need to start an online business, and that's when everything just kind of shifted around me thinking about business differently, and how can I create a business that actually is going to enable me to get where I want to go.
Heck yeah, brother. Um, well, dude, I'm in the home service. A lot of the guys watching this, and like, dude, something I really, really wanted to chat to you about while we're on here, and like, I think we might as well just jump right into it. But it's the whole like sales flow,
Yeah.
because I know you're a big go high level guy,
Hmm.
and if I'm not mistaken, you're on House Call Pro, right?
Yeah.
So House Call Pro, they've got like their own automations, they've got pipelines, stuff like that. Can you give us a rundown? Like, did you still use Go High Level and connect that with House Call Pro, and like,
Yeah.
what's your whole sales flow, I guess,
Yeah.
for the
So
pressure washing
Hostile Pro is
business?
great.
Yeah.
Um, and just the software that we have today, when I first got on some of these softwares, I'm like, this is the capabilities that businesses 10 years ago didn't have.
Hmm.
Like you can manage employee, like this type of stuff was only available to corporations that were willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars. But now, for like $100 a month or something, a couple $100 a month, you have access to the tools that like just a couple years ago nobody had access to. So like first of all, you have to be leveraging these tools. But I'll get really tactical with you and kind of explain what I do. So I use high level for kind of like the front end, and then I use House Call Pro for managing the operations of the business. So
Okay.
you have high level that is your marketing operations. It's just better at that for a lot of different things. So a lead comes in. Doesn't matter where the source from. It could be Google, organic, Facebook. It could be Yelp. Could be a phone call. Could be a text message. Could be an email.
Yeah.
Wherever it comes in from, right? What we're going to do is we have speed to lead. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
We have to communicate with the lead within 5 minutes, preferably less. We're going to be on the phone with them as soon as
This
possible.
is like a real person.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so basically, we, you can either set the estimate in person or you can give the estimate over the phone. And then, you go out and do the job. We connect it with House Call Pro, so they're always communicating, right? When we create a
It's like
job in
Zapier
House Call
stuff.
Pro, it kind of communicates with Go High Level as well.
Is this like Zapier stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, actually,
Okay.
we do it all inside of Go High Level. So you can do
Oh,
some really advanced, like we built out
wow.
the whole thing. So, for
Yeah.
example, like some of the big things that we do is like that is, first of all, estimate follow up. Like, let's say you send an estimate. How many times have you sent an estimate and then you just never followed up with it, right? Or
Oh
maybe you
yeah.
followed up with it once. But what we have now set up is you send an estimate and then it continues to follow up with that estimate until they close a deal. And think about it, if you send 100 estimates and you just leave them out there and maybe you check in with them once, compared to if you send 100 estimates and you follow up every week for the next 6 months, right? You're going to squeeze a lot more juice out of that. And then, after like, let's say 6 weeks, if they don't close, you offer a 15% discount, right? You're just going to close way more deals. So that alone can probably add 10 to 15% right to your bottom line. So if you did $100,000 last year with no additional advertising spend, with no
Yeah.
additional operational costs, you can add an additional 15%, revenue or profit, depending on where you are, just by squeezing more out of your estimates. And you do that by systematically following up with all your estimates, and then, offering them a discount after 6 weeks or something like that, or 3 weeks.
Yeah. So go high level sales marketing stuff. Would you fully switch, like whenever you would book the job, that client would just kind of become a house call pro, and like you'd have a different phone
Yeah,
number
so it's all the way
communicating and
up until
stuff,
the
or
job gets an estimate, right? And
okay,
then estimate, it's like when we send an estimate out, then it's in-house call pro now. And then from
right?
there, we can send out reminders for that estimate.
That's all
Um,
through house call.
all through Go High Level, we can send out the reminders.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when they book a job in House Call Pro, it communicates with Go High Level. They're just always in sync.
Yeah. Was the communication, is it pretty much always in go high level though? Like even job reminders
It's
and
kind of mixed.
yeah.
Kind of mixed. So you have all the most of the marketing stuff happens through Go High Level. Put it that way. And like a lot of the operations, like, hey, your technician is on his way. Um, Here's your invoice. That kind of stuff. That happens in House Call Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Bro, I appreciate you not gatekeeping none of that. That's
No, of course, man. We gotta help
that's some
everybody out.
sauce right there.
There's a
Everyone
lot
watching
to
see.
it. There's a lot to it. The
Yeah,
basics is
I
like,
bet.
what are you trying to optimize for? Number one is you want to convert the maximum amount of leads to clients,
Yeah.
right? And so, or even breaking it down simpler, the maximum amount of leads to estimates and the maximum amount of estimates to clients. So there's two different breakpoints in there. You can have someone
Yeah.
that goes from a lead to an estimate, but then they don't go from an estimate to a close. So you have to optimize at either one of those points there. To go from a lead to an estimate, what do you need? Kind of the same things. You need speed and you need persistence, right? You need to have immediately, as soon as somebody inquires from you, you have to be on the phone with them, be communicating with them. If you don't get a response, you need to be persistent, calling them, texting them, emailing them until they do commit to an estimate. And once
Or
you
just
get the
send it
estimate,
over
you give them
without
an
them.
estimate, you wow them with your performance, you give them a great presentation, and then you just, from there, you're basically just reminding them until they book with you because they may have been busy or whatever. But just following up, that people miss that follow up. If you just send an estimate and then you don't actually follow up with them, you're probably losing a lot of money.
Big time.
I can guarantee you're losing a lot of money. But
Yeah,
people
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't spend the time to focus on that. They're like, hey, let me go get this cool new wand that's gonna save me like nothing,
Yeah.
Hey, let me go get this cool new chemical. Like, oh, what kind of bleach are you using? Like, bro, none of that even matters.
If you don't
Like,
got
close some
jobs, right?
deals,
Yeah.
you know? And
Dude,
that's what you should be focusing on.
do you think it's like 100% worth it to, because obviously integrating go high level stuff like that makes it a lot more complicated. Suddenly you have two platforms going. You think it's 100% worth it though?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to have done half of what I did without it. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it's actually not that complicated, but I understand there's two systems,
Yeah.
but you just need them. You just need two systems. They just serve separate purposes. It's like, and your business will have more than two systems. Like you're gonna have an accounting software. You're gonna have a whatever. Like, you're gonna have a lot of different things.
100%.
So You're going to have a lot of different systems anyway, but these two serve distinct purposes. For example, you can do database reactivation campaigns with
Yeah.
with Go High Level, and there's a lot of really cool AI stuff that's happening right now. So
Let's get into that, dude. 'Cause
yeah,
that's kind of what you're into. Like that's what you're transitioning in right now.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. So
What do
um,
you see it like for home service businesses? Like, where do you see the biggest use in
here's
right
here's
now,
what
and
I'll
then also
say.
in the next few years?
Here's what I'll say. If you are a business owner, you will be using AI in the next couple of years. Every single business owner will have some kind of AI communications with their customers within the next couple of years. It's just a matter of whether you're going to wait a couple of years to implement it or are you going to implement it today. And you think about back in the 90s when, I mean, I know you were born in the 90s. Think about in the 90s. I mean, I was born in 88. So
I'm in the
uh,
2000s, brother.
we want okay, 2000. Okay. All right. So, you think about back in the 90s when the internet was just coming around, you had businesses that said, yeah, I'll probably look into that stuff
Right.
pretty soon. It's probably a good idea. I should think about getting online. Yeah, I should probably think about making a website. And meanwhile, other people actually made a website, and they were the ones that were actually able to adapt and stay alive. And the ones that took their time, the slow adapters, they kind of shriveled off into non-existence. And so the same thing is happening today. It will touch every business. It's just a matter of uh, how soon of an adapter are you going to be? And the ones that adapt it sooner, they're the ones that are going to get ahead. So here's a couple of the ways that we're using it. So for example,
Yeah.
you've heard of database reactivation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give
Like
you a few different use
automation
cases.
stuff.
What's that?
Like these are like automation stuff. Like after X amount of
Yeah,
time.
imagine like okay, okay. Here's one of the basic concept before we even get to database reactivation. It's like
Yeah.
a lot of these guys that are running businesses, they don't understand the value of collecting customer data.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, I use my personal phone and like I keep everything in a notebook and a Google spreadsheet or whatever, but you need to have a CRM so that you can communicate with your client base and make more money. This is like basic stuff.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't even have that. But if you're running advertising and you're doing jobs for people and you have all your clients in one space, then quarterly or monthly, you can send out deals to everybody in your list. Spring special, summer blowout sale, whatever, like Christmas sale, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's basically what a database reactivation is. I have my database of clients, people that bought, people that didn't buy, people that, are leads, whatever it is. I can send a text message, I can send an email, I can send a voicemail drop to them, and
Yeah.
I can reactivate them and get them to purchase from me. If I have 1,000 lists in my list, 1,000 clients, 1,000 leads, previous clients, people that didn't book, and I get 1%, and my average ticket is $500, then I've made 5 grand with one email or one text message. And you do that once a month, once a quarter, and you have significantly improved your return on investment,
And the
significantly
$0 marketing
improved
spend.
return on advertising spend.
Yeah.
So that's something that people should be doing anyway. But with AI, you can do some really cool stuff with it. So, for example, I'm experimenting with outbound AI. So
Okay.
basically, it's like you call like, hey, this is Jane with Humboldt Pressure Wash, giving you a call to let you know about our specials that we have. Are you interested in booking an appointment to have your gutters cleaned? And then they can have a conversation with that client and actually book their service and answer their questions.
Hmm.
Like that happens today. Like I'm doing that now, right? With
What are you
other
seeing
businesses.
like? Because like I've tried some of that. Like I've tried AI reception and stuff like that. I don't think it's there yet. At least the one I'm using. But like, what are you seeing from your side? You
It's
know,
there. I mean,
it's
here's
there.
put it like this. Put it like this. If you miss a phone call,
Yeah.
you lose money.
Yeah. True.
Period. If you miss a phone call, you miss an opportunity to earn revenue. If a prospect calls you and they get the voicemail, they're just going to hang up.
Hmm.
Okay. And the thing is, 90% of these pressure washing businesses, probably your followers and stuff, they don't have a full-time receptionist. And even if you did, they're only answering 9 to 5. Okay. I mean, I had like answering service for outside office hours, but like
Yeah.
most people don't even have a receptionist. And if they do, they're only working 9 to 5. Okay. So what happens if, if you don't have a receptionist, you're busy cleaning windows, you're driving a car, and you miss a phone call, they're not going to wait for you to call back. They're going to go to the next person on the list.
Yeah.
And so you've missed that opportunity. So just by having every single phone call answered instead of having it go to voicemail,
Yeah.
you have now significantly improved your return on investment, significantly improved your revenue earning capability.
So at least after hours.
At least
Yeah.
if you missed a phone call, okay? This
Yeah.
doesn't have to be
Right.
the first line of defense. It could be. Like there are some of them that are good enough to do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yes, answer the phone call. You are always going to beat an AI.
Hmm.
Probably always. But what AI can do is it can answer the phone call when you aren't available.
Hmm.
So if you miss a phone call, then the AI takes over. That's where the opportunity is. So if you aren't available to answer that phone call, whether it's during work but you're busy, or
Yeah.
after hours, or the weekends, then they can answer the phone call. It can very easily answer all the questions about your business. It just scrapes your website and then compare and knows about your business already.
And so the
And
goal
then
of this is like that the AI basically scrapes or basically gets like the client info, what service they want, contact, address, and then next time there's like a human or whatever, they fire off a estimate.
it depends on how your business functions. Um, so we're going to kind of touch on that, but there's a different ways to operate your business. You
Yeah.
could do estimates over the phone, or you could do
Right.
estimates in person, and that depends on your business model, right?
Hmm.
I've experimented with both. Doing estimates in person are almost always going to result in a higher close ratio and a higher ticket.
Hmm.
Almost always. Like 99% chance you're going to have a higher close ratio and a higher ticket. Almost guaranteed. Why? One is first of all, you're going to have the opportunity to build rapport with the customer, talk to them, pet their dog, you know,
Yeah.
just be friendly with them, right? Smile, shake their hand, look them in the face. The second reason is because you're going to be able to identify other opportunities, right? Like you go out there for a window cleaning and you're like, Mr. Customer, your stairs have moss on them. You're probably going to slip and fall. Like you don't want that happening to you. Or, hey, look at these window frames. Have you considered cleaning these anytime
Hmm.
recently? Like I'm noticing that your gutters have, grass growing out of them. Would you like to get those taken care of? So you're going to be able to identify opportunities and you can do quote every service every time. You go out, you quote all the services: house wash, roof wash, gutter
Yeah.
cleaning,
Yeah.
window cleaning, concrete cleaning. Whereas if they call you, hey, one of my windows cleaned, okay, that's $300. It's
Yeah.
harder to upsell without showing them the actual problem. So you'll be able to quote more services and you'll be able to, you know, have a better closing ratio. So you're almost always going to make more money. There's drawbacks, right? Drawback number one is you probably have to you spend time doing it yourself, which could potentially take away from revenue earning capability,
Hmm.
or you have to pay a salesperson, and that salesperson is going to demand a salary. So you have to weigh the benefit with the disadvantage. In fact, I made a whole spreadsheet one time because I was like debating
Okay.
whether I should hire somebody or not.
What
Like,
did you
okay,
guys end up doing?
so I ended up hiring a salesperson,
Okay.
um, and it was worth it. That salesperson ended up leaving, and so we ended up returning to doing over the phone.
Yeah.
And I think just because of the convenience of it, it's kind of like 50-50. It depends on how much lead flow you
Yeah.
have.
I think it like a big one is average ticket. If you're selling $300 window washes, obviously you're not going to go in person, right?
Yeah,
But
there's no reason. Yeah.
if your average ticket's like $2,000 and you're closing 2/3 of them in person, it's like,
Yeah. Well, I would say the thing there is you should never be closing $300 tickets
yeah.
because you need to be finding other opportunities like window cleaning, roof cleaning, solar panel cleaning, house washing, concrete, like even like small ways to add $150 here and there. Like your average ticket really needs to be 500, $700. Ours is like 950, right? Because we do a lot of roof cleaning. I understand, like we were in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of moss. Not everybody has a roof cleaning opportunity, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Where are
so
you based out of, by the way?
the business is in the Humboldt County. It's like Northern California. I live in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, so
California.
I always lived about like I started the business, but then I moved away about a year into it,
Yeah.
and we were able probably like 7 months into it, and so
So you
I
got
was
an
always
operations
remote,
manager.
but I never
Yeah.
did the work. I was always just managing the stuff remote, and I never really spent much time actually doing the work. So I was like 12 hours, 14 hours away from my business. So some people have trouble like hiring employees and stuff, but you have to figure out how the business can run without you actually being present.
Yeah. What's your advice for that? Because I'm moving away in like a month right now, and our team right now is like 2 technicians, one kind of like sales admin kind of manager. And I'm wondering, like, because we're so small, I want to open a new market because there's 30,000 people here. But if I lose, like, let's say 2 of these people at once, suddenly we're down to 1. Or, like, let's say I have to rehire everyone. Like, it's just hard
Yeah.
to hire remotely and train remotely.
No, that's
Like, what do
hard.
you think of that?
But I mean,
Yeah.
if that happens, you're probably gonna have to go back. But
Right.
I would say, uh, I mean,
I'm like,
you
yeah, I don't want to, like, give someone a key, like, on a call, like, yo, yeah, go grab the key here, and then, you know, truck's parked over here, go do this.
yeah. So um, it's a good idea. I mean, if you want to, I don't know how involved you are in the day to day, but you shouldn't be too involved in the day to day. Like your main thing should be like managing,
Yeah.
working on the managing employees, hiring employees, um, doing the admin stuff, doing the marketing. Really, that's one of the biggest things you need to be working on is the
Yeah.
marketing. And yeah, that's the thing about it is when you're that small, you're probably going to have to be you're responsible still in one way or another. So if something goes wrong, you're going to have to go back out there and fix it. Um, so your guys have to trust them enough in order to provide them with enough autonomy so they can act on their own, and maybe you have to pay them better. I don't know if they're listening to this, but may have to pay them enough to where they feel comfortable. Like, hey, this guy is not even here, and he's like making money off of our hard work. Like that mentality. So it's like you gotta do what you can to like teach them and mentor them and bring them up. And that's what's going to keep them kind of loyal and sticking with you. But it happens. Employees leave. They leave. Like I wouldn't want any one of my employees to stay with me for too long because it's like, man, I want you to go off and do your own thing. Like, this is not a like a job where you're going to be here for the rest of your life. Like, I want you to come here, work a couple years, be a great experience, and then I understand that's the dynamic of these kind of jobs. So you have to be prepared for that.
Big time. Kind of back into the whole like AI stuff, like
Yeah.
more
So
what you're working on right now.
Yeah.
You
So,
know.
like the two biggest things that if you're thinking to yourself, okay, what is AI? It's
Yeah,
complicated. I
what
don't
would
know
you
how to get
say to a
involved with it.
business owner? Because I feel like it's kind of like a buzzword almost. AI.
It
Like, how do
is.
you actually use it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where should someone start? I guess.
Yeah, if you're wondering like where do I start? What does it mean for me? Okay, I use
Yeah.
ChatGPT, but how do I actually translate AI into making more money for my business? There's two places I would start right away, like today. And the first thing is AI receptionist to handle your phone calls that you miss. If you miss a phone call, you're missing opportunities, so you should never miss a phone call. AI should handle your phone calls, number one. Just the ones that you miss, at the very least to begin. The second thing is implementing a chat widget on your website. Why? First of all,
And
a
that
chat
should be
widget,
AI powered
yeah.
answering.
Well, think about it like this. If you go to a website, and there's two websites, one that has a contact form. Put your
Yeah.
name, email, phone number, and your message. And we'll get back to you when we feel like it, right?
Yeah.
It's like when it's convenient for us. Like you don't know where that email is even going to land. Like it could land in an inbox of Sally, who who comes to work 3 days a week, right? And then you're like, okay, it might get back to me in a couple hours, might be a couple days, might be a week. I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to send this message. Hopefully, one day they'll reply to my inquiry. Or you have a chat widget, and the chat widget it says, "Hey, I'm here available to help you right now. I'm online. Send me a question." Which one are you more likely to interact with? The chat widget,
Of course.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Problem is, most people are, again, their speed to lead is important. When I sit down and talk to a chat widget, someone has to be there. And that's where the AI comes into play because it can now answer customer inquiries, but more importantly, collect customer information and and collect that lead data. So what you have is improved conversion from just having a chat widget, and then you have the improved conversion by having an AI capture the lead and answer the customer questions. So those two things right there, like right off the bat, if
Hmm.
you're not doing that, you're going to be left behind in one way or another.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a few other things. So like that'd be the very first thing I would
This
do.
is all go high level stuff too, eh?
Yeah, both of those are capable and go high level for sure.
Right now we've got the chat widget, but it's basically just a form.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna be a big one.
That's step one. Just add in the
Yeah.
AI, and what it's going to do is conversationally have it collect the information and collect the customer issue, whatever it
Hmm.
is. And the thing is, it can like answer a lot of questions right off the bat too.
Hmm.
After it already collected the information.
Yeah,
So
and once the customer's gone back and forth, they're kind of invested.
that's the whole thing. Is you have to do what's called a pattern interrupt. Like they're scrolling, how can I get
Right.
you to stop and pay attention to me? It's all about how can I steal your attention for just a few moments. How can I, like, when I call you and I get the voicemail, I'm hanging up. If I call you and an AI answers, I may have a quick little conversation. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and then I remember that experience. Oh, that was memorable. They had that AI, right? And so if I can give them a memorable experience, then that is that pattern interrupt that's going to stop them for a few minutes and get them to think about that experience, and they're more likely to, um, to remember that and to work with me, to want to be a
So
part of
you
that.
think because like that's this is and dude, this is probably a limiting belief, but like my thought with the AI receptionist, because we have so many elderly clients that they're gonna be maybe they won't even notice, but then they might also be like, yo, like what's going on with this AI? Like, let me just talk to a real person.
Well, a couple
But you
things.
think it's almost like a selling point?
It can be absolutely. A couple things. First of all, um, I would rather have that than have them hang up
Yeah,
on
you're right.
the voicemail. You know,
Yeah.
every single day. So, um, the second thing is, I would rather, uh, uh, I personally would rather speak to an AI than a voicemail, because especially if they can answer my questions. But I forget what the other thing I was going to mention was. But you're saying about how AI, like sometimes they don't, if they're older. But some people actually don't even notice that it's AI. Like it's such a
Hmm.
quick interaction. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've tested it a few times. But
Yeah, if you want, I can show you a quick little preview that I'm doing for a law office.
okay,
Do you want to can I show you real quick?
let's do it, dude.
Okay, so you guys can see the power of AI
Oh, you
for
got it
law
right there.
offices. You can think about how you can use it for your business as well.
Hello, thank you for calling. Hi there. Thank you for calling the law office. My name is Lexi, and I'm here to help. Could you tell me a bit about what's going on?
Yeah, I got in a car accident last week, and I need to speak to a lawyer.
I'm so sorry to hear about your accident. I'm here to help. Could you tell me a little more about what happened? For example, where and when the accident occurred, and if you or anyone else was injured?
Yeah, like last week, some guy just kind of hit me. I was driving in my car, and I kind of hit my head a little bit, and I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh. Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like a tough experience, and I'm glad you sought medical attention. Just to confirm, the accident happened last week, so within the past 7 days, correct?
yeah,
And you mentioned hitting your head.
yeah, I hit my head, and it happened like last week, less than 7 days ago.
Uh-huh. Got it. Thank you for confirming. Since this is recent and you've had injuries requiring medical attention, this sounds like an important case. Have you been contacted by any insurance companies yet about this?
So you can get the idea. Like, it's
Yeah.
very natural, right?
And that'd be
It's
for
really cool.
windows and gutters
Yeah.
and pressure.
And this
What are you
is
dealing with?
today,
Yeah.
right? So where are we going to be at 12 months from now?
I bet you most, I don't want to say that, but like a lot of people wouldn't notice.
A lot of people wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will, and it's like, it's okay. Who cares?
Of
You
course.
know?
Yeah.
I'd rather that than a voicemail. And yeah,
What do you think? What do you think of the drawbacks of
the
something like
drawbacks
this?
are is never going to be as I wouldn't even say never, but it's not going to be as good as a human. A good
it's less
salesperson is going to
personable, right?
outperform that,
Yeah.
obviously, right? But you have the scalability of, first of all, not having to pay for a person. So even if you decrease a little bit in the sales, maybe it makes up for it in the efficiency because you don't have to pay for somebody. But also you can handle a lot more volume. And also, again, this is mainly right now, I'm using this in case you don't answer your own phone. That's where a lot of the opportunity is coming from right now because that's just lost revenue.
100%. What do you? We got like 15 minutes tops here. What do you think? I wasn't really expecting that we'd get into all this AI stuff, but I know I like this stuff. I think it's gonna be super important. What do you think the next, 5 years are looking like, or even 10 years? Are we still even gonna have guys in the field, or like in the home service industry?
Oh man,
Are we still gonna have
well,
office staff, or like what's your whole vision? What do you think's gonna
yeah,
happen?
it's so hard to even make these predictions, but because things are moving so quickly. I mean, we have Tesla Cyberbot,
Yeah.
we're gonna have humanoid robots. Like pretty soon, why would it make sense to send a human out there to clean somebody's roof when I can have a robot do it? Like that's coming.
Yeah.
That's coming.
I
Okay,
mean,
it may
dude, I
not
think the
be
only reason is
5 years, but
it's the
it could be
experience,
in
right?
10 years. Say again?
I said I think the only thing about like a human is that human connection, right? A lot of our
Sure.
clients, they want that. They want to meet the technician, whatever, but
Maybe.
maybe
Some
that's
people
also
don't.
me who's
Some
like
people don't,
scared of
right?
this
Like,
and
do I
like
really want to meet Bob, the gutter cleaner? Do
yeah.
I really want to have a connection with my gutter cleaner, Bob? Do I really? And a lot of people get these services when they're at work and they don't even meet the client, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
true.
hey, come to my house at 2 p.m., whatever. Clean the windows. So, I mean, maybe. But here's the thing everything has a price, right? So, there's going to be an economy. And so, people that want that services, they're going to maybe have that option and it may cost more,
Right.
it may cost less, I don't know. But, so just like they said, like, oh, like when I call the pizza restaurant, I want to speak to a person. No, I don't want to. No, like I want to order my pizza.
Right.
And if that means going online and ordering my pizza without having to talk to somebody yelling at me through a loud restaurant in the background, like I don't need that human connection. Like I'm good going online ordering a pizza. So I think the human connection there's a time and a place for it. But like the home services industry, like do I really want? Well, think about the privacy and security issue. Like I have a plumber comes over my house. Do I really want Bob the plumber with this big plumber ass, like in my house with my wife at home, while I'm out at work? No. Like, I'd feel safer with a robot from a reputable company, coming to my house and fixing my drain. So like there's that. There's a security and safety issue. Do I want a stranger in my home? I don't know. So
Yeah.
humanoid robots are a thing. They're coming, and that's gonna be curious to see where that goes. Like that's the part that blows my mind, because all this AI stuff we can't really see it right now. But when it becomes something that we actually see, like robots walking down the street, like that's gonna be a weird world. Like everyone has their own C3PO. Everyone is like, humans aren't doing manual labor anymore, and that's gonna be wild. That's gonna be wild.
Yeah.
But
What should people do to stay involved or to stay informed?
it's hard.
Stay ahead.
It's hard because I understand it's people are resistant to learning this stuff because it moves so quickly. So they're like, I don't want to invest in learning something that's going to change in 90 days from now, right? So
Yeah.
that's tricky. I think, I can just say what I'm doing. For me, it's worth it enough to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening and just kind of do what makes sense for me. And like, I don't need to be on the cutting edge. Like, there's a lot that I don't know, but I'm using the things that kind of make the most sense for me. So for me, it's like the basics, if it makes sense, like the two things I mentioned, the AI voice and the chat widget AI, those are like such small, easy things.
Yeah.
And those alone are going to make a lot of improvements as we go on, and they're going to kind of continue to evolve. So I think just keeping your finger on the pulse. Don't go too far away from it.
Yeah, don't
Don't
shut yourself off from it.
don't shut yourself
Yeah.
off. Don't think of it as a passing fad or a trend. As it is not like I joke about this a lot. It's not like blockchain technology in 2020. Like blockchain technology was going to change everything, right? It was like blockchain technology was going to, you're going to have Uber using blockchain technology, like concert tickets, everything's going to be on the blockchain.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, you got Bitcoin, like they're using it from supply chain management, but like it hasn't really affected our lives very much. And I was always very skeptical of that.
Okay.
And so I was kind of glad I was a slow adapter. And yeah, some people made money. Most people lost money, right? Some people made money. Majority of people lost money in crypto. So I never really got into it. But AI is not one of those passing fads. It's a seriously useful thing that's touching every one of our lives, and it's changing the way that we do things. And it's really interesting to see what's happening. A couple of the cool things I'm doing. So I have one part of my presentation that I do. There's like, okay, so one thing I do is like you have an AI avatar, right? An AI avatar of me that looks like me, sounds like me, and then I can make ads or podcasts or social media content of me saying these things, and it's pretty decent. Other thing is you can use a video generator to make your ads now. So for example, I do Christmas lights, and I used VO3 to make an ad of an old husband, not even old, but like a husband climbing up a ladder, putting Christmas lights, and falling down off the ladder, right? I would never have been able to actually make that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I made it in like 5 minutes.
How's it performing? Have you tried
I haven't
it yet?
used it. I kind of use it
Okay.
as an example. I'll
Yeah, yeah.
probably try something like that in December. But by
Yeah.
December, there's are going to be another video model that's going to outperform this one. Or not
100%.
December, probably I'll start them in October. But what else? There's a really cool one. So if somebody ghosts you, like you're
Like a
talking
lead?
to a lead and they ghost
Yeah.
you, you can make a song for them and send it to them. So like for example,
Okay.
use the example like let's say you're talking to a client, her name is Olivia, and you're going to cut her lawn, and then she ghosts you. So then you send her this song. And it's a full 3 minute good ass like catchy song.
Yeah.
And it was good. I should play it for you. It was like, "Ghosted by Olivia, left me in the dark." It was really good. It was really
Yeah.
good. And so like sending it that lady, imagine you probably will get
That's
at least a
so
laugh
funny.
out of it. What
That's
else?
so
we doing?
original.
Yeah. So what else? You can clone your voice really, really well. And then you can use that to send voice notes, like iMessage voice notes or
Custom.
voicemails.
Yeah.
So you can send, and these are all things that I've actually done. So you send a voicemail or a voice note on iMessage to your client about whatever. It's like, hey, it's like hey John, hey Lewis, whatever. Like, are you coming to the webinar tonight? Are you showing up to the event? Whatever it is. So you can clone your voice. It sounds pretty good. What else? So there's a lot of little things like that you can do that are kind of changing the game.
You think
Yeah.
Go High Level's a good spot to be? At least just have
Sure.
a $99 account.
For sure.
I think
For
that's
sure.
kind of how I'm like keeping I
Yeah,
guess
and
my
that's a
finger
great
on the
start.
pulse.
Like
Yeah.
that's you're tapped into it, and they're doing a lot of the advancements for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you were talking. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, like you said, an old lady doesn't like the AI. Well, if at any point they want to speak to a human, they just have to say, "Hey, I'd like to speak to a human." Just today,
Yeah.
for example, they came out with a live transfer, right? So it's like
Cool.
if they expect that if they want to talk to a human, hey, is there a customer service representative? Sure, let me get you over to a customer service, and boom, it'll send you. So like that's available, and that's an option, and I get that people are still gonna want to do that. I think at some point it's gonna become so normal that you won't even have a choice, and people just accept it, you know, at some point. So it's just gonna be kind of like it's like at some point everyone was using carrying around cash, and
Right.
then we started using credit cards, and it's like, oh, I don't want to use my credit card because they might steal my credit card information. At a certain point, you're like, I'm good. I'm just gonna use my credit card. Like it is what it is. I've used my credit card for the last 10 years, and nothing bad has happened. So I'm just gonna use my credit card. But like that change had to happen, and I don't know if you get it, but we still service customers. They're like, oh, I don't use credit cards. Like the old people, like some people still don't use credit cards. So, but majority of people have adapted it. I think that's going to be very similar with this technology too.
Awesome, brother. Well, I know you got 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
I want to give you the stage before we wrap up. If there's any, we got a lot of stuff. I got like 2 pages of notes, but if there's anything we haven't, you want to drop for the people, or where people can find you, how they can reach
Yeah.
out if they're interested in, anything you do.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is that, you know, if I have to give a message to people, it's that you have to be very conscious about the goals that you set for yourself
Okay.
because you will eventually hit them. Like, for example, I set a goal to hit 100 Go High Level accounts, right? And I hit it in 90 days. And I just kept, and then like after I hit it, I kept like coming up with these different like obstacles that all of a sudden I couldn't overcome, and like I kind of took my foot off the brake a little bit. And I just thought to myself, like, what if my goal was 1,000 accounts instead of 100? Or like my goal for my goal for my pressure washing business was like $1 million in revenue. I'm like, that's actually not even that hard to hit. Like if you do certain things, like you can definitely do that. Um, but like so it's like so you have to really be conscious about the goals that you set for yourself. So don't be afraid to think big. Don't be afraid to have big goals, because those are the ones that scare you and give you that adrenaline rush into actually accomplishing it. If you'd like to reach out, I'm pretty easy to find. My name is Alister. I'm on Instagram. I help people with AI, with automations, growing their Go High Level SaaS companies, and help people launch webinars. I do all kinds of cool stuff. So feel free to get in touch.
And a podcast.
And I got a podcast too. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And yeah, we'll link everything down below. Guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Alister, brother, I appreciate you coming on here. I feel like
Pleasure.
this was like almost needed for me, kind of like
Good.
a wake-up call. So, dude, thank you so much. And guys, go get after it. Go check out Alister. Check out our other episodes. Thanks for watching, boys.